First of all, I would like to congratulate you all, ABA International School Oman, for the possibility of being part of this kind of a community and learning environment. I think it's really wonderful, and it's of course the people who are creating it. My reason for being here is of course to learn, to understand the local connection, local culture, context, and what are the kind of strengths and maybe what are the kind of things that you want to see developed with the different IB programs. First, I would like to congratulate and kind of tell about the students, because they were really marvelous. No wonder that they are student leaders. They did a great job. I think that you do have a marvelous school environment, learning environment here. We were talking with the students about the fact that there's a kind of an interaction between the students and the environment, that once you create an environment which is nice and truly values the students, then the students also start to value the environment. And as they were kind of saying, that there's a kind of an atmosphere in the school that everybody wants to be nice to each other. And I think that's the best thing a student can say about a school. I was also very happy to hear about the different events that the school is organizing, which also shows that there is a strong connection with the local culture and community. And I think when talking about international schools, that is so important. Because learning always happens in a context. It's need to be embedded in the local culture, and I saw a beautiful example of that here. IB has earned that reputation by the work that the founding persons of the organization were capable of creating. And that was really making sure that they were creating an education system that would tackle the challenges of that time. And that time was more than 55 years ago. And I think now the challenge is for the IB education is that what are the challenges of today and tomorrow? How can we make sure that the IB programs are relevant for the young generations? And I think there are the certain things that we know about the reality of today. I think the questions of well-being are becoming more and more people. It's a kind of a difficult world that we have created for the students to understand, and we need to support them in their own growth, maybe more than we have supported them earlier. Then there are kind of other big topics. There is the question of the technology, for example. How does it impact? What kind of competencies will the young people need to have in the future? And I think that brings it back to the questions of kind of that just knowing things is not enough. That the AI, for example, can in a way know things, but it can also kind of use and analyze information in a cognitive way. And that means that we as humans don't have to concentrate on that part so much. So I think what comes more important is our capability for relevance realization. What is meaningful for us as humans, and also globally, in local context, but also globally, because the big challenges that we are faced with seem to be global ones. And I think all of that comes down to the question that I think more than ever, there is a need for a very holistic education, meaning that it values and supports the growth of young people in different aspects, not just the cognitive one, but also the social one, the psychological one, the physical one. And again, here in this campus, I think there are kind of great examples how you're dealing with that, and the students spoke a lot about that. And it's that understanding that we need to kind of get better as how we're humans in this era. And that's the biggest challenge for IB for the next years. Kind of starting with PYP, there's the discussion about the big concepts and the big questions. Who are we? Where are we coming from? Where are we going? And that kind of inquiry-based of learning and tackling the big questions in different phases of that continuum is an essential part of that. We don't know what are the challenges that those young people will be facing in 20, 30 years' time. But if they have that open, curious, creative, problem-solving, caring mind, then I'm pretty confident that they are capable of tackling that kind of a world. And thinking about the big global challenges, AI won't be able to solve them. We would very much like to ask the AI that, how can we end all wars in the world? But it cannot give that solution, because those challenges, as well as the climate change or loss of biodiversity, they are challenges that are connected to all of us as humans. How we behave, how we treat each other, how we see the world. And that is the kind of approach I think that IB in the world is, as an educational program, very well positioned to give competencies for. The diploma program, and I do believe that also the career-related program, they have that capability of giving the competencies for IB graduates to make a good impact in their studies in the university side. And that's what we are hearing everywhere. We hear it a lot from the alumni, the IB alumni, who are saying that my first year was so much easier in university than for others, because the things that comes throughout the first year of university were things that we already did with the diploma program. But also we hear it from universities, and it's not only that we are hearing it, that we have also evidence about it, that IB students are doing very well in university levels. I was just a couple of weeks ago in Cambridge and visited Cambridge University and their admission, and that's what they're saying, that they want to have IB students for that reason, that they do well in their studies, they graduate, and they are kind of a positive power in that community. And it's the same story in different parts. And as you said, it's also the question that we hear from university rectors, that they especially look for IB students. And then they're also saying that they should take the pedagogical approaches that the IB is using to use in their universities. And of course, we're having an open to that kind of discussions too. Question in all education systems that how to create that connection between the learner and the world, because that's where learning happens, in that interrelationship. And of course, quite often in this world, especially in the Western world, you hear a lot of talk about that, what can I get from the world? And that's an important question, but at least as important a question is to question that what can I give to the world? What can I give to the community around me? And that's a skill that you can learn. That's an attitude that you need to train yourself. Training students to have value in the real world. And then that's such an important pedagogical approach that you, by teaching how something that you're learning has also value to the community, it makes the learning valuable. And through that, the students start to value what they're learning, and by that, they're starting to value themselves, which is extremely important. So in that sense, kind of a service type of an approach and kind of value-added pedagogy is such an important part that I think all education systems should include something like that the IB does. What I'm seeing is that there are kind of two things where I see kind of very flourishing IB school communities. One thing is that there is a lot of collaboration inside the school, and kind of, as the students were talking about, the connection also with the early years and PYP, MYB, DP students, it's so remarkable to hear that collaboration. And also the other thing is that connection to the local community. And again, that came up very strongly. So I'm just kind of thanking you for the great work that you're doing in implementing the IB programs. And I'm here also to learn. I'm here to learn that how it can be done in an effective way, and I've learned a lot today.